Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about fear and how overcoming fear is kind of like learning how to swim. Just to give you a little personal story, I'm a little bit scared of the dark. Like, I feel like I was programmed to be scared of the dark. It's something that I'm overcoming, and as I was overcoming it, I was getting frustrated with myself. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Why are you scared? Like, there will be moments where I'm brave and I'm not scared. Like when I'm thinking about, okay, the next time I'm going to be in a situation where I'm in complete darkness or anything like that, I'm not going to be scared. I feel fine. But then when the situation arises, I kind of get nervous. I start getting scared. That fear starts to creep in, and I would get really frustrated with myself because this is something that I want to overcome, because I know that it's a fear that has been programmed into me. It's not a rational fear. It's just something that, like I said, has been programmed into me. And so as I was thinking about this, I'm kind of like, why am I getting frustrated with myself? Like, if you think about it, overcoming fear is kind of like learning how to swim. Now, let's say that there's a child who doesn't know how to swim. You wouldn't teach them to overcome that lack, or you wouldn't teach them how to swim by throwing them into the deep end, would you? Or let's even take it for an adult, right? Because I'm an adult. I'm an adult that doesn't know how to swim, right? So would I take myself to the middle of the ocean where I can't see any land at midnight, when it's pitch black, and just say, okay, jump in, start swimming? Like, no, I wouldn't do that, right? And so with fear, it's like kind of the same thing. I think that there are some fears that you can just overcome, by taking a big leap. And then there are other fears where you kind of have to go step by step and little by little. And again, that analogy is perfect, because if you're scared of something or nervous about something, you wouldn't take it to the most extreme and say, okay, don't be scared anymore. Okay, tackle this head on. Like, maybe you need to take little baby steps, right? Like, you would start by putting them in the shallow end, okay? Letting them get their feet wet, letting them know what water feels like. And then once they get comfortable, maybe they can go waist deep, right? And then maybe they can start to kick and then start to paddle a little bit. And then it goes step by step by step until finally they're in the deep end of the pool, right? And then they're comfortable in the deep end. They can play, they can dive, you can do whatever you need to do. And then maybe the next step to overcoming, not being able to know how to swim would be like going from the pool to the ocean, right? So now, okay, it's a little bit more predictable, but because you have the practice in the pool, you're not just going in blind. You're not just going in, with zero experience, with zero tools, right? Let's say you're going to the ocean. Maybe you have a floaty. Maybe you have somebody with you who is a strong swimmer who can help you. Maybe there's a lifeguard that's watching, right? So all of these things are, I don't know, it's just like a little analogy that I used because, again, I was getting really frustrated with myself. I'm like, why am I scared of this? Like, why is this, it just felt ridiculous. And instead of, I don't know if nurturing is the right word, but instead of nurturing, my irrational fear and kind of like understanding why I feel this way, I kind of was just like, okay, you should be able to jump into that deep end with no issue, So I kind of feel like we can apply that to many areas of our life. Like, if you're scared to try something new, if you're scared to go new places or make new friends, it's like you don't have to jump into the deep end, or you don't have to just put yourself out there so much so that it gives you anxiety. Sometimes it's okay to like take little baby steps, right? So you might go to an event and you might go with a friend as like a security blanket, or you might, just go to an event, not with the idea necessarily of talking to somebody to overcome your fear, but maybe just to be around people, right? To get used to that feeling. And then once you're used to being around people, then maybe you'll start to make small talk and approach people and things like that. So like I said, I feel like this can be applied anywhere. For me, it was with darkness. Again, I just had many scenarios where I was afraid and punishing myself, or kind of like reprimanding myself, like, why are you scared? Why are you afraid? But then I thought, like, if there was a child who didn't know how to swim, or if there was somebody who didn't know how to do something, you wouldn't thrust them into the deep end of that fear, of that scenario, and tell them to survive. You would try to help them in a more balanced way, is what I'm trying to say. So I hope this video helps someone. I hope, if there's something that you're working on overcoming, whether it's mental, physical, emotional, social, whatever, I hope that you're, able to understand that you're allowed to be gentle with yourself. You're allowed to take it step by step. It doesn't need to be one big, overcoming just at one point in time, to where it's like, okay, I'm different now. Like, you know, you can really take your time and you can really understand why you're fearing the thing or why you're scared. You can understand what you need to do. You can understand different ways and different methods to approach it. And, you know, I'm not the first person to say this. I know that there are many videos about this, but sometimes I do feel like you need to hear things in a certain way at a certain time, from a certain person, in order for things to just click. So hopefully this clicked for you guys. And yeah, let me know below if there's like anything that you are trying to overcome yourself, or if there's anything that you're trying to do yourself. I would love to hear about it. I would love to hear about the techniques that you're implementing, or, you know, if you need words of encouragement or anything like that, definitely let me know too. And thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys at the next video. Bye.